a really low budget, low quality, poorly filmed B-movie. My heart is bleeding with severe disappointment. I had been really looking forward to The Curse of La Llorona. I feel very let down. Maybe that's not fair. This film was not terrible. It had some really positive points, which I will of course discuss in due course. But for me, considering this is part of the Conjuring franchise, and I do really like the Conjuring franchise, I expected so much more than what felt like a really low budget, low quality, poorly filmed B-movie. So this is directed by Michael Chaves. I hadn't seen any of his other work. According to IMDb, he is directing The Conjuring 3. I'm not doing star jumps with excitement about that news. The Curse of La Llorona is about a mother who is suspected of neglecting and being abusive towards her children. And then we have Anna, who goes on this case to try and find this out. And it becomes quickly apparent, as you know, is obvious by the film nature, that there is a more supernatural force at will. Thereafter, it follows a pretty typical narrative structure for a horror dealing with this kind of character. We start to learn more about the backstory of La Llorona and how she is or may be terrorizing these children and what threat she poses to other children potentially. And then how are we going to get rid of her? It is absolutely nothing special. The narrative develops at an okay rate. I feel like it takes about half the film to get anywhere, but then once we get to that point, it is pretty quick, and the backstory of La Llorona is dull. Don't like it, don't care. She is not interesting. She is not really threatening as a presence, as a character, as a story. Her way of threatening and imposing danger, it's nothing new. I've seen it before. I thought it was really dull. The other problem I have with this film is it kind of has a confused feeling and a confused message. It's not a religious film. We're not going out like The Exorcist here. But at the same time, there is a smattering of religion in here that makes it difficult to judge what I should be thinking. Because it's not religious enough, but there's enough religion in it that it could put some people off. And that is probably one of the film's biggest flaws, in my opinion. However, we will end on a positive, or two positives. The first positive is the use of sound. The soundtrack, the actual music, I thought was quite disappointing and not very good. But the actual use of silence and then sudden sounds and the noises that La Llorona makes are very good. They're very powerful and they did make me jump. And I would say there are quite a few jump scares in this film, which again I'm not the biggest fan of. They don't really do much for me apart from, you know, make me jump. But yeah, so when we have silence and then a sound, that's impactful. But the actual soundtrack didn't really leave any kind of lasting impression. Linda Cardellini is one of the main highlights for this, for me. Maybe the biggest highlight. She played Anna, our protagonist, who is on the case. She is the caseworker for these children and she has to try and find out the truth about why they're covered in bruises and they look like they've been badly abused. And I thought she was great. Very well acted. She blended in well with all of the characters. She never looked out of place. And her interest in La Llorona was just the right amount that it wasn't bordering on obsessive, but it wasn't accepting of this very weird thing, which if any of us found out, would probably freak us out. So, is The Curse of La Llorona worth watching? Yes. If you like horror, and if you know the genre well, and if you like the Conjuring films, yes. If you're new to horror and want to dip your toes in the water, don't watch it because it will totally dampen your opinion of good horror. And it may put you off the genre, but if you're, if you're used to horror and you're just looking for something that's quite relaxing, quite frankly, give it a go. Let me know what you think. Maybe you'll enjoy it.